Sounds perfect. All right, my name is Brian. This is my first talk at Unknown Worlds. I want to thank you guys for letting me come up here and speak. So what I'm going to talk about today is game dev resources for teaching rapid prototyping, game jams, and partner projects. So the point is, what I do in my spare time, I've been a game developer for about 10 years now, game designer, and in my spare time I teach game development to kids through a program here locally. And so, these are some images of me teaching kids. The point is, over the course of doing this, I've encountered a lot of different software that you can use to teach both newbies and intermediates, and also a lot of different resources that you can use for your games. So I thought, actually, this is something that is useful not just for people who are fresh to game design and game development, but also can potentially be useful to you guys. So what inspired this talk was that I actually did a game, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of it, if it will behave. Let's see.
You press escape and then...
All right, let's see. So my wife and I, when she got pregnant, decided that we were going to announce the arrival of our daughter in a different way than most people might. So rather than creating an announcement with an image, we put together a game. And we worked together to create this game. And so when we put it out, all of our friends got an opportunity to experience being a sperm, chasing other sperm through my wife's vagina, through a uterus, get up here in the fallopian tubes. You'd think I'd be better at this. I got to get ahead of all these other sperm. So the idea is to be the first sperm to fertilize the egg and thus be the father of my child. So this was a really awesome experience. We had a blast doing it. Took about a month to do. Yeah, I won. All right. All right. So the point is to share this experience not only with my wife, but with my friends. Onto the announcement. Hey, we're having a baby. There she is. So, and her ETA is, let's see, just alt tab over. There we go. All right, so the idea was that, when I did this, I had a blast, and I also did a Nerd Night talk not far from that same time, where I talked about some of my experiences in game design. In the end, I did a call to action for people in the crowd to actually try out game design. You're talking about a crowd that is predominantly not game devs. So my epiphany here was that people who are game devs should make games with people who aren't game devs, because both sides have something to learn, and it's something like a win-win situation. So I had collected all this information when doing this, teaching about game engines and about public domain, Creative Commons, and royalty-free art, learning to program, learning to make game art in communities. And after getting sick of repeating myself over and over and over again, I eventually put it all together into a website. So the point is, I'm hawking my website. But I'm not making any money off of it, so it's not quite as nasty as it sounds. So, for example, when I was teaching kids game design, I started out using GameMaker and then used Unity, and that blew their minds wide open. So I backed up and I started using Kodu GameMaker, which is super simple. You can actually create a game with nothing but the Xbox 360 controller. There's other software like Stencil and GameStar Mechanic that people starting out can use. But I also made sure that, all right, if you want to keep going, here's all the different types of game development software that you might use. Difficulty noted, things like Unity, Unreal, and Source that you might be familiar with are down here in the advanced section. But there's also the programs that you can use, programs that are available to teach kids game design, which include things that are very gender neutral, some that's more on the masculine side, but all of them are really accessible. And additionally, all these sources for free art, whether that's something that is Creative Commons license, or if it's public domain, or if you pay a price and then it's royalty free from that point on. And then also a lot of the communities that we're all familiar with, things like Ludum Dare, Global Game Jam, Gama Sutra, etc. So, so what do I expect you guys to do with this knowledge, and why is this going to be useful to you? The point is that I think that you should consider making a game with somebody you love, somebody, a significant other, a friend, a child, a parent. Because actually over the course of doing this, I think that what would surprise you is that you're going to come across new ideas for games, new ways to solve problems, new perspectives that you might not have considered, and you're going to build a closer bond with your game development partner who is going to be totally blown away by the fact that you know what you're talking about. Other things that you can do, even if you don't have somebody to share this with, maybe you've thought about entering a game jam but said, you know, I really don't think that I have the programming prowess or the art skills. But the point is that by using one of these more accessible game engines, there's a lower technical barrier. A lot of them don't even require programming. Some of them, the programming is really simple and it's visual, block-based. It doesn't have anything to do with syntax. And you can experiment with new types of games. So, for example, using RenPy or IncoWriter or you know, one of the engines that will help you create text-based games. So it might get you creating games that you never would have thought of to create before. Also, suppose you're a developer and you're like me and you're a designer and you really want to be able to rapid prototype an idea without having to have a programmer sitting right next to you on this side and an artist on this side. You can quickly get ideas down, you can have a rapid iteration loop, and you can focus on the ideas, not implementation, by taking advantage of some of the free art that's available, by taking advantage of some of the engines that make it a lot easier to get up and running much faster. So the point is, like, regardless, all these things are available to you. The site is currently hosted at my portfolio site, which is a little bit egotistical, but really, honestly, I'm trying to find a name for this site and then get a domain and put it up there. So in the meantime, if you want to get access to this resource, you can either remember how to get to myname.com or you can ask me for a card later and I'd be more than happy to give you one, and then you just go there. Also, I have a Twitter handle and I frequently spout off about things like this, about diversity, about accessibility, about teaching kids, about games for change and serious games. It's kind of my shtick. So if that thing kind of interests you, feel free to check that out. And with any time remaining, I think I've been caffeinated and have probably gone faster than I intended to. So I'd be more than happy to field any questions.
Well, why don't you take questions just from people?
Yeah.
You know, later.
Okay, absolutely.
If you have questions, he'll be here.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
I'll be drinking the plethora of beer.